So my name is Adrienne Stewart, and I'm the Director of Public Policy for the Washington State Developmental Disabilities Council. And I'm here today to talk about my family. I have three family members with developmental disabilities. My sister is my twin sister, and she was born with a rare genetic disorder called Rett syndrome. And that meant that she needed a lot of extra support to be able to fully participate in school and in the community. She needed a paraeducator to help her in the classroom. And she is in constant need of supervision. She can't be left alone. It's a safety issue for her because she will run away or turn on the stove or what have you. So she needs full support. I want to also introduce you. Charlie, come here, vámonos, come here. Come say hi. This is my 5-year-old Charlie. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Okay, bye. See you later. That was Charlie, and he is autistic, and he's 5 years old, and he is thriving in his preschool class. I couldn't be happier. He's in a fully inclusive classroom setting. He also has a one-on-one paraeducator to make sure that he doesn't elope and that he's safe in the classroom. And it's been a journey to get him into that classroom setting. I actually had to fight the school district for over a year to get them to offer him a non-segregated classroom setting, much along the lines of what my sister grew up going to 40 years ago. My twin sister, like I say, needed a lot of supports to be able to be successful in the school and in the community. And some of the joys that I remember growing up with my sister were we would have that twin thing where we just knew instinctively what one another was thinking. Haley is non-speaking, so we would just look in each other's eyes and we knew when something was funny, and we knew when one another was hurting. We were just on the same wavelength about so much, even though she couldn't perfectly articulate exactly what she was thinking or feeling. And so I would say for growing up with Haley, some of the ways that the system failed my family growing up are some of the ways that the system is still failing my family now. We still have a community and a society that does not consider developmental disabilities to be well within the range of a normal human experience. So families are really taken aback and unprepared to support a child with developmental disabilities. A lot of families, especially before you have a child with developmental disabilities, assume that there are systems and supports in place if you do have a child with developmental disabilities, and you find out very quickly that that's just not true. You find out very quickly that childcare centers can discriminate against your child with developmental disabilities and just refuse to take them. You find out really quickly that schools are very quick to relegate your child to a segregated special education classroom where they're taught life skills rather than getting exposed to academic curriculum, just like their non-disabled peers. You find out really quickly that every service and every support that you need or want for your child you've got to get scrappy and fight for. You also run the real risk of having one, at least, parent drop out of the workforce to be able to give full-time care to the child with developmental disabilities. That hasn't changed in 40 years. That fact remains. And I think that's a real systemic failure. I haven't talked at all about Jack, but I also have an 8-year-old son with developmental disabilities, Jack. He also has the rare genetic disorder that my twin sister has called Rett syndrome. We found out, actually, my sister's diagnosis came after my son's diagnosis, because Haley was never diagnosed officially. When she was young, the doctor said that she was mentally retarded. And so when the diagnosis came for my son, I received it much along the lines of what my mom experienced as a child, and that, they just kind of dump it on you. The doctors have no idea what services or supports out there. I think they believe also that there's just a lot of services and supports available out there somewhere, and they send families out into the world to go try and figure it out on their own. So families stumble into services and they fight their way into supports, much like mine did. And I think that's a failing. I think it should be the case that your doctor knows exactly the pipeline to put you into, to start getting the process going, to get you the services and supports that you need for your child and that your family needs to be able to welcome a child with a developmental disabilities and higher support needs into the world. So the things that are lacking in order for my kids to thrive, I think really comes down to community acceptance of kids with developmental disabilities. For example, my 5-year-old that you just met loves nothing more in the world than to help the grocery store checker check out our groceries. He lives to scan groceries across the scanner, and he cheers every time a food item is scanned, and the baggers know him and the clerks know him at our regular supermarket, and it is the highlight of his week to be able to check out groceries. But when we go to a different grocery store or a non-grocery store, and he tries to help the courtesy clerks do their job or check out the groceries, and they don't let him, he's devastated. And I see that as an illustration of a community that isn't quite there yet, doesn't quite understand how to fully embrace the offerings of people and kids with developmental disabilities. I see that as an opportunity for that interaction to enrich not only my son's day, but the courtesy clerk's day. And I think that embracing his gifts is part of my job as a mom, and to try and make space for him to be able to do that in the community is really important to me. So